Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, and today we're going to make a ginger bug. So what is a ginger bug? A ginger bug is a natural ferment starter, kind of like a sourdough starter, but for fizzy drinks. This is my current ginger bug that I use for my drinks, but today I'm going to show you how to make your own ginger bug, and all you need is sugar, water, and fresh ginger. And a little patience and time, of course. So let's get started. First, you want to chop your ginger. It doesn't have to be chopped perfectly, just chop it into small squares, and you want to leave the skin on. The process of making a ginger bug is about 3 days, so I go ahead and chop a lot of ginger, enough for 3 days, so I don't have to keep chopping it every day. So basically what you're going to do for each feeding, you're going to put 1 to 2 tablespoons of sugar and then 1 to 2 tablespoons of ginger. You're going to do this twice a day for 3 days. So in the video, you can see that this is day 1, feeding 1. I put in 2 tablespoons of sugar and 2 tablespoons of ginger. And then we're going to cover it and let it sit until our next feeding. And you can cover it with a paper towel or cloth with a rubber band on top, or you can just place the lid on there loosely like I have it. So in this clip that is showing now, this is still day 1, but the second feeding. So I'm just going to put 2 more tablespoons of ginger and 2 more tablespoons of sugar. And then I'm going to cover it again and let it sit on the counter. And you'll repeat this same process for day 2 and day 3. Fresh ginger has wild yeast and good bacteria that lives on the skin. When you feed it sugar every day, those microorganisms wake up and begin to grow. The microorganisms eat the sugar and release tiny bubbles of carbon dioxide, and that's what makes the ginger bug active and bubbly. And here we are at day 2, feeding 1. We are going to put 2 tablespoons of ginger and 2 tablespoons of sugar. And then we're at feeding 2 for day 2, and we're going to put another 2 tablespoons of ginger and another 2 tablespoons of sugar. I also want to point out that the environment does affect the time of fermentation. So if you have a cooler environment, it may take a little longer than 3 days, and you might have to do an extra day of feeding. If you live in a warmer environment, it might actually take just 2 days. It just depends on the environment, so keep that in mind. Here we are at day 3, feeding 1. We're just going to put our 2 tablespoons of ginger and then our 2 tablespoons of sugar. And I wanted to point out as well, it doesn't matter how much water you use when you first start out. I just fill mine halfway. That way I have enough room to keep adding ginger. Because once you have your ginger bug established, you do want to continue to feed it. You don't have to feed it every day, but just maybe once a week. Now, I do make drinks a lot with this ginger bug, so I typically just feed it every time I use it. When I first made a ginger bug, I actually started out in this container that I'm using now, that I'm showing you in the video. But as I began making drinks, I used it so much that I actually had to transfer it to that bigger jar that you saw in the beginning of the video. And when the water gets low as you use because you're just using the liquid when you make your drinks, but as the water gets low, you just add more liquid. So in this clip here, you can see that we have a lot of activity. We have a lot of bubbles, and that's a good sign. That means it's working. And if you don't see bubbles and a lot of activity, you can just continue to feed it until you do see that activity. But you are now ready to use your ginger bug, and typically you just need it like a 1/4 a cup, whatever recipe that you find. But if you like this type of content, subscribe, because I will be making videos in the future about my favorite drinks and what I like to use this ginger bug for. I also want to point out another sign of activity is the cloudiness. You see how cloudy the liquid is? That is a sign that there's a lot of fermentation going on. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you make a ginger bug, let me know in the comments. Bye.